નમસ્કાર, હું આદર્શ છું. વેલકમ ટુ આદર્શ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી.
Standard 9th, Subject Science, Chapter 15, Improvement in Food Resources. See, food resources. Resources means what? Which is the sources which is needed for the living beings, basic availability. So this improvement will be there in the food resources that you are saying. Improvements in the food resources. In this topic, you are learning improvement in the crop yields, how you have to yield. Crop yields means what? The yielding, the producing capacity you have to increase it, and crop variety improvement will be there, crop production improvement, and crop protection improvement, and as well as manure. What is manure? What will be fertilizer? And what is irrigation? And here, what is cropping patterns? Okay, what the patterns will be there? Animal husbandry means what? Poultry farming means what? Fish production means what? Beekeeping means what? So these are the things we are going to learn in this topic or in this lesson. So we know that all the living organisms need food. See, dear students, you have know that every living organisms, all sort of living organisms need food. So why they need food? Because you know that the food supplies proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins and minerals. So these are all the important. So what is the importance of proteins? What is the importance of carbohydrates? What is the importance of fats? What is the importance of minerals and which one? Vitamins and minerals. So these are all you have studied in the lower classes also. This again I will discuss whenever the in between the points comes. This I will discuss with you. Okay. So all of us which we require for our body requirement, for the body development, for the growth aspect and for the health aspect. So these foods are required. See, both the plants and animals are major sources of food for us. See, both the plants as well as animals are also, they are a major source of food for the human beings. You obtain most of this food from the agriculture as well as animal husbandry. Animal husbandry also you are knowing. See, we are getting from the food from the plants as well as from the animal husbandry. What the keeping animals, farm keeping animals we are saying. So we are cultivating. This is also one kind of agriculture for our meat, for food, for milk, and for other purpose. Okay. So now next ones we read newspapers. We read in the newspapers that efforts are always being made to improve the production from the agriculture and animal husbandry. Both agriculture and as well as animal husbandry should improve the production is given. So question arises, why is this necessary? Why it is required? Why you have to increase the food production and animal husbandry? Why we can't make do with the current levels of productions? Why you cannot make this level of the production? Why you can't maintain? So you know that for all these reasons, India is a very populous country. Very populous means India what? India is a growing population is growing on. Our population is more than 1 billion people is given. More than 1 billion people means how much? More than 1 billion means 1.30 crores. 1.30 crores people. Okay, still it is going and still growing. So as food for this growing population, we will soon need more than the tons of grains every year. Okay, billions of tons every year. Okay, so this can be done by farming on more land. So this can be done. This can be achieved by farming. But India is already intensively cultivated. So Indians' lands are already used for cultivated. The lands are now very difficult to get it. So as a result, we do not have any major scope for increasing the area of the land. So it is very difficult to increasing the area and for the cultivation. So therefore, it is necessary to increase our production efficiency for both crops as well as livestock. Livestock means farm animals. So whatever the land is there only, or whatever the lands are growing, there only you have to go for more production. So this you have to do. So then only we can lead the crops management. We are saying, we can supply for all the peoples. So efforts to meet the food demand by increasing the food production had led to somewhat success so far. So here during this side, what we are achieving, for making the food production increase, somewhat now we are going for success to achieve it. We have had the green revolution. Green revolution means what? Growing more and food products. So green revolution, more greenery, more productions, which contributed to increase the food grain productions. Okay, we also had the white revolution also. White revolution, green revolution means green plants. Whatever the food products what we are growing, that is achieved. And white revolution, we are saying milk product animals. So this also need better and more efficient as well as availability for milk supply. So this you are saying, what you are saying? White revolution you are saying. So these are all achieved in the 1970 only. 1970 or before that. Green revolution, 1970 started. Before that it will be, but 1970 this are all achieved, green revolution. Okay. Now, however, this revolution means that our natural resources are getting used more intensively. Most intensively means to fulfill more intensively. Resources are getting used for. As a result, there are more chances of causing damage. So that's why the more causes of damage to our natural resources, to the point of destroying their balance completely. So for growing the more production, but it should be, you have to check in that we should not destroy their natural balance. Okay, balance should be there. Therefore, it is important destroying the natural balance. Therefore, it is important that we should increase the food production without degrading, without spoiling our environment and disturbing the balance and maintain it. Hence, there is a need for sustainable practices. Sustainable means maintaining both balance will be there. Okay, practices in agricultural as well as animal husbandry. Both it will be improvements and sustainable management will be there. It should take care, it should not spoil both the balance should be there. And also simply increasing the grain production for storage in warehouses. Warehouses means big godowns like this. So crops should not spoil and cannot solve the problem of malnutrition. Malnutrition means lack of adequate nourishment, food for the peoples and hungers. So it should not supply. So that is why here warehouses also will be there. Warehouses for big storage of grains. People should have money to purchase food. So people are also able to purchasing the food. Food security depends on both availability of the food and access to it. So for the people's needy people, for everybody food should get food should available, food should get it and able to afford it also. The majority of our population depends upon agriculture. So know that India's majority of the people, certainly 50% of the people depends upon the agriculture for their livelihood. So increasing the incomes of the people working in the agriculture is therefore necessary. So those who are doing the agriculture, their income also. It is so necessary for them to combat the problem of hunger, to fight with the problem of hunger. Everyone should get the food. So scientific management also here, scientific management practices should be undertaken to obtain the high yields from the farms. To obtain the high yields means what? To obtain the maximum production of the crops for sustained livelihood. So one should undertake mixed farming. So this is why the variety here, different types. Mixed farming will be there, intercropping will be there, integrated. This is all scientific practices. Integrated farming practices. This we will learn one by one in the next. Okay. And for example, combine agriculture with livestock. Livestock means you know that whatever the domestic animals poultry farming, birds, fisheries, beekeeping, honeybee. So these are all the production. These are all what important aspects. These are all the part of the agricultures. Okay, then now the question thus becomes, how do we increase the yields of the crops and livestock? How we can improve them, increasing the yields of the crops and as well as livestock is the question mark is given here. Okay, so this will discuss one by one also. So improvement in the crop yields. So first of all, we'll go for improvement in the crop yields. What improvement should be done in the crop yields? Okay. So cereals such as, you know that cereals such as wheat, rice, maize, millets and sorghum, these are all providers. These are the examples of carbohydrates for energy requirements. You know that the carbohydrates are required for our energy sources. And pulses like grams, black grams, green gram, pigeon pea, lentil. So these are all providers proteins. You know that pulses will supply the proteins. And oil seeds including soybean, groundnut, sesame, castor, mustard, linseed, sunflower, these are all providing energy fats. These are all necessary fats supplying. And vegetables, spices and fruits provide us a range of vitamins and minerals. Okay, in addition to the small amounts of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. So these are all everything. Proteins, carbohydrates and fats along with these vitamins and minerals. So these are all required of our body. In addition to these food crops, fodder crops, fodder, what do you mean by fodder crops? See, fodder word is fodder crops. So animal food also. So like bears, what is good? Bursi, oats, Sudan grass. So these are all the about animals' food are raised as a food for the livestock. Okay, this is also required for us. Different crops require different climatic conditions. You know that everywhere the same India of that number of states will be there. In every state, every crops are not growing. Why? The reason because different climatic conditions and different temperatures and photo periods. Photo periods are also very important for duration of the sunlight. Photo periods we are saying for their growth and complete their life cycle. So these are all for the food are growing this production also, temperature and as well as climatic conditions, photo periods, these are all required. So photo periods are related to the duration of the sunlight. This is the duration of the sunlight. So, okay, growth of the plants and flowering are depend on the plant sunlight. See, growth of the plants and flowering plants require the sunlight also. As we all know, plants manufacture their foods. You know, this you have learned in the lower classes. Plants manufacture food with the help of the carbon dioxide. Okay, and chlorophyll. Sunlight is required. So this process we are calling as photosynthesis. There are some crops which are grown in the rainy season. This also I think in the lower classes you learned. Grown the rainy season crops are grown, that is called as kharif crops. And for example, kharif crops, paddy, soybean, pigeon pea, maize, cotton, green gram. So these are the example of kharif crops. This is very important question also. What do you mean by kharif crops and what do you mean by rabi crops? See, kharif crops, the month is June to October. During the June month it starts and October will be harvested. And next one is winter crops. The crops grown this is winter is called as rabi crops. There is rabi, you are saying the season from November to April. From the November it starts and April will be harvesting it comes. So examples wheat, gram, peas, mustard, linseed, these are all the rabi crops. So here you have to remember what do you mean by kharif crops and what do you mean by rabi crops and their examples. So India there has been 4 times increased the production. Nowadays India has 4 times increased the production. And from 1952 to up to 2010, but 25% only increased the land area for cultivating. Okay, only that 25%. And now next one is how has this increased the production be achieved? If we think of the practices involved in the farming, we can see that we can divide into 3 stages. See, if we think of the practices involved in the farming, the increase, we can see that you can divide into three stages. When the first one is the choice of seeds for planting. Before planting, you have to select the seeds. And the second is the nurturing of the crop plants, nurturing, taking care of that. The third one is protection for the growing. So you should go for what we are saying, the protection management. And thus the major groups activities for improving the crop yields can be classified as crop variety in the improvement and crop production in the improvement and crop protection management. So these are the important groups of activities for improving the crop activities. So this we will learn in the next video one by one. Okay, got the idea, students? So remember, all here important one is what do you mean by kharif crops and what rabi crops with examples. Okay, then other things are just we have to only for listening and reading things will be there, underlining for the knowledge. Any questions can be asked on this. Okay, thank you. We'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining us.